Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. It's Monday. That means news, like all Mondays.
Means back to work.
Back to work. The week begins strong, and this is one of those weeks where there's a bunch on deck to talk about, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Although it seems like the weeks that we don't have much to talk about, we manage. Somehow the episode goes the same amount of length. I think we just go like a little bit more, not philosophical, but just discussion based. Whereas with a
Take
lot
no advice from us.
No.
No life advice.
Whereas like the the weeks that are full of news topics, it's a little bit more like news point, but somehow,
Well, if there's a lot, it makes sense. A lot of news to talk about. Lack thereof news. Still lots to talk about.
Yeah, one of our longtime listeners that we heard, do a game with us on air the other week, Shoes, he once joked that we could probably talk about a glass of water for an hour.
I know we can.
Yeah, easily.
Ever since that, it's already in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I need no notes.
Mm-hmm. You always bring it up to me if we have like a cancellation or something like that. An interview falls through. You're like, well, we could talk about the water.
Put the little mustache on the water glass.
Yeah. So the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple announcements. Pretty much every week, the other week we announced a Quest 2 giveaway. Then we had our showcase announcement. But this week, we have some pretty big news. We have a new podcast starting. Does not affect Ruff Talk VR at all. It's just like an additional feed of content for you Ghosts of Tabor savages. It's going to be called Tabor Radio, and it's a podcast all about Ghosts of Tabor.
Yeah, honestly, what could be better?
Right? So again, it won't be on the It won't be on the Ruff Talk VR feed. It'll be on its own feed.
It's its own thing.
We'll put it in the show notes. The first episode's dropping tomorrow on Tuesday. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday or Thursday, it's already out. It dropped on Tuesday, where we interview again Scott Albright, the CEO of Combat Waffle Studios, for the first episode. But we're going to kind of make their way around the team, interview a bunch of different members, maybe talk to some different creators, talk about updates, just the what's happening in Ghosts of Tabor. It's not going to be weekly like Ruff Talk VR is by any means, at least not to start. But if there's a need to do more, we'll do more. But don't expect like 2 or 3 episodes a week just right off the get-go like we're doing now.
No, it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm. I saw somebody post on Twitter, it would be cool if they played it in the bunker and you're instantly like, as long as there's the option,
No, it's just the option to turn it off.
But that would be a cool-ass idea too. But yeah, go visit the link in our show notes to go subscribe to Tabor Radio with the first episode dropping tomorrow, interviewing Scott. That'll be a lot of fun for anybody that enjoys Ghosts of Tabor. And then, like I mentioned before with announcements, let's get a couple of them out of the way. Last week we talked about that we're nominated for the annual People's Choice Podcast Awards, which is always, every niche has some sort of awards, and there's I guess you could say a scale in legitimacy of them. The People's Choice Awards, they have a Wikipedia page. Come on, that's pretty legit, right?
I won't argue that.
I mean, hey, our award show doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
No.
So at least they've been established stuff. It's got a Wikipedia page. To me, that is the podcast awards. But
I've heard you use that. There's a couple of guests we have too. I was like, oh, I've never heard of them, and you're like, dude, they have a Wikipedia page.
It's a joke I love to make.
Yeah, they're more legit than I am.
Yep. Do you have a Wikipedia page?
I don't want one,
but they got a Wikipedia.
Because can't people add to that and shit?
Wikipedia does a decent job like filtering edits and stuff.
Because back in the day, couldn't you like alter the?
Yeah, but they change it in 2 seconds.
All right.
Yeah, if you try to edit something on Wikipedia, they'll be like,
I remember that shit. That was a long time ago too. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to get a screenshot just for your own humor, but by the time you refresh the page, it'll be fixed.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we're nominated for the annual People's Choice Podcast Award in 2 categories. First, the Adam Curry People's Choice Award, but then more importantly, the Best Leisure Podcast. So, if you visit the link in our show notes for the podcast awards, you click on the link as you make an account, nominate us for those 2 categories. It's to get to the final slate where then they'll contact optionally if you choose to. There's a little box that you consent to it to contact you by random in the next round to hopefully win. But we got to make it to that round first, and we need your support in order to do that. So go visit that link, help nominate us in those 2, or help vote for us in those 2 categories we're nominated, and hopefully you hear a nice update from us sometime in August or September. So that's about the.
Your vote counts too.
Yeah, no, we've
But
heard.
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
Just go vote.
So go vote. Help us win. We were nominated last year and we lost. It was terrible, but it was still cool to be nominated. So help us. Hopefully, we get a win this year. And then, like I keep teasing too, we also have a gaming showcase in February. There's not much to talk about it right now, but stay tuned for more info on that coming soon. And then, if you haven't entered our Quest 2 giveaway either, you probably should do that. That's pretty cool, right?
It's almost over. Coming to an end, the end of the month.
Yep, it runs to the end of July. So, like I said, if you haven't yet, go enter for a chance to win a Quest 2.
That's such a bomb. It's a bomb gift, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Shell Games even did that.
Mm-hmm. That's really nice.
There's been a couple things we've been, what I'll say, included in recently. We're starting to make our mark in the world of VR content creators, I'll say. One we can't talk about, but the other one being, the 4VR bowling tournament that we partook in.
Yeah, that was wicked fun.
Mm-hmm.
I made it to the semifinals.
Yes, we have both since lost our matches. You made it to the semis. I made it to the quarter. I went 1-1. We talked about it a bit the other week, and then you fell victim to the length of Skiva.
Man, even in VR, Skiva's like fucking ginormous.
Mm-hmm.
My face came up to like his chest, and I'm not small, so I'm like, geez Louise. So I did ask him though. I'm like, does your arm go like halfway down the lane? Like you literally just put the ball down and it's there, and it doesn't. So even though he's got a longer reach than most, it seemed to compensate enough. But that dude can throw a bowling ball 30 fucking miles an hour.
Yeah, his strategy was just whip it as hard as it could. Didn't you say he had almost a perfect game until the last frame?
I think he ended up with like just under a 280, or maybe it was a 280 something, but it was, a near perfect game. And then the 10th frame, I think it was didn't knock them all down, but then picked up the spare and then got the strike. So, well, at least if you're going to get your ass kicked, it's,
it's not something that you had an off day.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't post the 280.
Because what was your score?
I think it wasn't my best. It was like a 2-something, 215.
But that's still really good too. So it's nothing to be ashamed of losing 270.
But my other games were like 240 something. So I went in there not. I don't know. Son told me I was gonna. Remember, I was talking to you too. I'm like, I just don't have a good feeling about this. I don't know how good this is gonna go. And then on Skiva's like 5th or 6th strike, I was like, it's already mathematically not possible for me to come back and win this unless something goes terrible.
But he starts picking up spares every time.
Yeah, that didn't happen. So no, hats off to him. I mean, I went in feeling pretty confident that I was gonna potentially win the whole thing.
Yeah, that was our talk the weeks in until I lost.
But damn, I hand it to Skiva, so I'd say he'll if I had money to put on it, if it was that type of thing, I'd be like, no, that's if he bowls even remotely close to that, dude. I mean, good luck beating an almost perfect game.
Yeah, no, like
it's crazy,
and that was just really cool to see from 4VR. It was a lot of fun
to partake
the fire.
in.
A lot of fun to partake in. It's cool to, like I said, start to get included in stuff like that. Of course, we'll never get the meta touch of approval since we're not, balling with YouTube numbers. That seems to be just about all they care about, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I love meta. I don't hide that, but
yeah, I love meta. They just don't love podcasts.
Don't cater to TikTok and YouTube, and I don't know any podcasters that are really,
which I get too. Like, hey,
in good favor, and it's not like I've ever heard anybody trying to publicly hurt them or so I don't know. I can't wrap my finger around it because I'm like,
and I'm not the type of guy to be like, I wish I got an opportunity that somebody didn't. Like, I think that they should market with those people, and those people should be an avenue.
It's a smart move.
I just think that they overlook the value of podcasts. Podcasts are not on Meta's radar, even in the littlest.
Yeah, it's really strange.
I've even heard it from them.
You would think because look at even some of our sponsors. I mean, they're smart as hell. They go after
Manscaped, Better Health.
Name any of them. They go after the podcast.
Kiwi.
Kiwi would go after VR creators. Anything in any headset. I'm sure that you could probably have an agreement with Kiwi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's strange that the biggest player in the building doesn't play with anybody except for, and again, I'm not knocking those people. I think that's great, but it's just strange
Yeah,
how it's
I think those
overlooked.
people should get those opportunities and stuff, but I do think that they overlook the value of podcasting, which is there's some cool studies on, the influence that podcasters has. I think how often do we hear from people like, "Oh shit, I bought that game after that review." It always makes my day to hear, we got our complaints out of the way. It's just something that was on the chest, But in the realm of VR news, Roblox announced that they're coming to the Quest.
Yeah, that's going to be a floodgate.
Well, there already is a floodgate of little kids, but the market is going to grow sure.
We have seen nothing yet.
Yeah. I saw some people like it's going to kill VR indie development because, now there's going to be all these kids and they're just able to make these games. I'm like, opening up to a new market doesn't kill existing markets.
That's how it's, believe it or not, that's kind of how it's supposed to work.
Well, believe it or not, a percentage of these kids that flood in, whether it's 5%, 10%, 25%, 30%, they will buy another game besides just playing free Roblox. So you're going to spread the money to other games.
Gorilla Tag and Rec Room.
And more importantly, let's be real. Roblox has insane, I guess you could say, user metrics with daily users of, I think, 60 million and 200 million monthly active users. And there's, a bunch of kids play it. Are those the people spending money like adults do? No, like I said, there'll still be a percentage that goes and spreads out to other content, but you're really planting the seeds for when they turn to consume actual spending consumers as adults, and VR is regular. Whereas a lot of adults, you still have to kind of convince them about VR. Come on, give it a shot, and then you're going to love it. And then they do, but there's that moment of convincing. Whereas these kids, they're growing up with VR. They're going to play Roblox for free as a kid, and then when they're in their 20s and they're playing VR, hell, yeah, there's nothing to convince. It's normal to them,
Oh, it's really cool. Is these kids growing up right now, the little fries. I'll say the 8-year-old because that puts it into perspective. This is their Atari 2600, So their expectation when they're my age of what games should be is going to be something beyond virtual reality. So I can't wrap my head around what this technology is going to be in 40 something years. And you're right. I mean, and I keep equating back to the old school Atari days, but it's if your friend had one, if you didn't have one, you were going to ask for one. So it's a good, I mean, nobody's going to benefit more than this than Roblox. So
or Roblox.
Roblox, yeah.
Well, they had PC VR support before, but audience size now.
This is standalone.
Now for a kid to just be like, "Mom, I want a Quest 3 for Christmas," and then just to play Roblox, they're gonna see sales.
Imagine being a little kid and getting a Quest 3 for Christmas.
Anybody who their first VR experience is gonna be with a Quest 3 with pancake lenses, I'm so jealous. They'll never be able to use a Quest 2.
What's their brain saying? What do they think the future is going to be? Because, I mean, I had my own interpretation of the future of video gaming. And I'd say in some senses we surpassed what I thought would ever be possible. Not just in VR, even flat screen.
I agree.
So I'd love to know, a couple of years from now, what are they talking? What do they think is going to happen?
I'd say when I was 10, 11, I knew of theoretically VR, the potential of it one day in the far future, but I honestly thought it was just going to be console gaming for my lifetime as the major mainstream ones. And now,
did you ever think when you were little they were going to push the graphics to you can't tell the difference between a...
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I kind of actually, if anything, think in that regard we're farther behind than what my little kid brain thought. But again, it went that direction. It didn't go the VR route. Again, I knew it existed. I knew that theoretically it could be a consumer thing, but my brain wasn't thinking of that as I'm going to be 26 and just go buy a VR headset that's standalone, no wires, And then, 2016, yeah, VR starts shooting up, but you need the high-end PC. I didn't think we were ever going to see it to this quality and standalone so
Affordable?
fast.
No.
So fast. So I know a lot of people feel like we're behind, but from the outside looking in, man, I think that we're quite a bit ahead. So I have no idea what these kids are going to have as an expectation, but VR is going to be normal to them.
I would take a gamble that this is going to sound absolutely ludicrous, but hey, that's what I'm here for. What if they use some sort of conduction technology where they could pump the images right into your retina, almost like bone conduction for like microphones
with a
and
Neuralink?
I'm not
putting a chip in my brain.
I'm
but
not. You don't even need it. You wouldn't need it. They just can get the waves into your. So like it wouldn't matter. Like in your field of view is your legit field of view as a human being. They just overlay your.
I think that we would see that quicker with contacts.
I don't know.
The technology in contacts.
I like the idea of not having to put anything in your.
Yeah, but you got to do it in a room.
What do you mean in a room?
Where is it coming from?
It's being sent through your temples.
From where?
From little suction cups you put on them, like a little headset.
So now you got suction cups on your head?
Well, not, you know what I'm saying, like little discs that would go on your temples. Because if you could theoretically manipulate the brain, right? You could forcefully see anything that's not real.
Not going to deny it's possible. I think we'll see contacts first.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking first or second. I'm talking like this is like the end game. This isn't the steps we take to get there.
Yes, one day we might.
Because contacts, I would totally. Why wouldn't there be some sort of like computer enhanced contacts that you could wear that tie into your app, and you could even change the color on the fly. I mean,
contacts is the 60 years after the glasses hit.
I'm saying like directly into your brain, and then it forces your eyes to see what you're supposed to be allegedly seeing.
Wild. People are just going to replace their eyeballs in 100 years. You're just going to have cyborg eyes. But, with Roblox, too, nobody can really complain about going to App Lab as, dude, Roblox is starting on App Lab. So it's like I think that was very interesting to see. It's like one of the most popular software apps on PC comes to the Quest, and they start it on App Lab for the first couple months. You had said it off air. 6 months from now, it's not going to be on App Lab, and I agree with that.
No.
But it's just to get out the beta kinks and everything. It's like, yeah, dude, some things have to launch on App Lab, and even the big boys.
Server strength is going to be, a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of get it. I mean, who knows what's really going to happen? Maybe this forces the soft launch versus the. Again, like I said before, the floodgates are going to come down when this drops.
And I'm sure the first time, so like they inject VR support into their engine all of a sudden, and all these existing games, that did it properly can now support VR overnight. There's probably going to be a couple bugs and hiccups and developers needing to change a couple things to make it fully proper, So I think that's why it's starting in App Lab, to give everybody time to go, let's see what happens when we flip the on switch and everything just gets injected with it, So it gives time to get out the bumps, but I'm guessing they're going to try to have that ready on the official store for the Quest 3 release and Christmas. That's what I would be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to...
Also, utilizing mixed reality would be...
Ooh, I don't know if Roblox will be able to do that, but...
I don't know.
Dude, they're pushing...
I don't know what's going to happen when developers are taking advantage of the Quest 3. Because when you're guaranteed color pass-through, it's like right off the bat, that's...
You are so much more hyped for color pass-through on the Quest 3 than I would have ever thought you would have been a year ago.
Well, you know what did it was the
Expect You to Die demo?
That was all right. But the Rube Goldberg machine, the game that I want to play, but I don't want to play because you can use mixed reality and it's only going to look really good in color.
Yeah, you are going to play it.
It's like, what the frick?
I guarantee you the day you have a Quest 3, you're going to play it, but you're waiting to play it until you have that color pass through.
And it's too bad the studio didn't come out with a game knowing the limitations of the Quest 2 pass through and made their game so that it kind of blended with that environment.
Twilight Zone probably could have done that. You could do like a throwback, like you're in
all
the
black and white.
Yeah, because that's like kind of utilizing the benefit of it being infrared. I'm just trying to think outside the box in that regard.
And you had a couple of shots, so you're a little woozy, so that justifies
The blurred effect.
blurry. Yeah,
No, you got drugged or something. Somebody stabbed a needle in you or something.
Yeah, that would work.
But
it's just you. Someone could have taken advantage of the.
Mm-hmm. But I don't even know if they would allow it onto the official store right now because all the mixed reality experience. But I'm sure we'll see a lot of mixed reality games on the official store.
It'd be an App Labber
once the Quest 3 drops. And speaking of App Lab, Pico, they announced the Pico Lab.
The lab app.
I gotta laugh sometimes at the similarities in interface or like the Pico worlds, and so Pico Lab, it's gonna be for for free
Pico Pro.
Yeah, for free Pico 4 apps, like little non-officially on the store apps. So that's cool that they're going that direction. But the including lab in the name was just comical to me. But cool to see that that's existing for Pico. I like that Pico exists. Our only gripe with Pico is always that we can't have one.
Yeah, they're missing out on the North America market, and it sucks because people would buy it. I'm convinced people who own Quest would buy it just to have
an
affordable headset.
Just to have an alternative.
Shit, I have both, and then if they get to the point where it's like Pico exclusive, and it's really really good, then what the hell? Yeah, but we got nothing for them.
I guess Pico,
nothing except for hey, keep trudging forward. They're surviving, which is kind of cool. Just I made the joke off air that Apple probably come in and buy them up, and then they'll just dump them into North America, and
that probably would have been a better.
Spatial computing will take a little backseat for a little while so they can make it work.
Because Pico existed as a standalone company until ByteDance bought them in whatever year. And understandably, it's probably hard for a company like Pico to float those first couple of years by himself. They were doing standalone VR way before the chips justified it, So I think it probably would have been better for them long term if Apple happened to have picked them up instead of ByteDance, because then they wouldn't have to deal with the waiting on U.S. and congressional hearings.
We know people at Apple. We'll get you into North America. We got this.
That's how
we know how to talk to those people for 14 hours. We're good.
Well, I'm pretty sure Pico itself is not out of China. I want to say it's out of like Singapore or Taiwan or something like that. But its ties to ByteDance are what gets them in trouble, not Pico itself. You know what I mean? It's a subsidiary purchased by a company that.
Oh yeah,
that gets damaged or
their politics out there are different than ours. So
I agree, but historically we've never had any issue doing business with businesses from those countries. It's just the fact that they're owned by ByteDance. ByteDance is the issue, not Pico. But would they have been able to survive without ByteDance buying them? Probably not. But if Apple happened to have picked them up, it wouldn't even be a discussion. There'd be no politician to talk about. It would be just another company doing business. But and speaking of,
became a hot button. That's all, and people still.
It died down. It comes up every couple of years. And
they should just slink in, kind of look both ways. Be like, there's other shit to talk about right now. Now would be the time.
Yeah. Now would be the time. Submarines. It's like, hell yeah. Be everybody focused on that.
Don't get me started on the submarine.
Everybody focused on that. All of a sudden you're in Walmart. Who cares? And once you're in, you're in. So beyond that, on Ask Me Anything that Andrew Bosworth did, the Meta CTO, I always like how direct he is with the Ask Me Anythings, and we always get good little tidbits out of it. And he had said the battery life of the Quest 3 is about the same as the Quest 2, which I saw some people like, boo, whatever, but I get it.
Here's food for thought. And that's actually kind of good news, even though I had wanted a 4-hour.
Well, it keeps the third-party market alive.
Well, it's a more powerful machine, and it's still going to give you the same amount of time. Count your blessings, because if you put that power into the Quest 2, your battery would last about 30 minutes.
And
so I respect the couple hours.
He did specify, though, that it would depend on what exactly you're doing with it.
As it does now.
Meaning I'm sure if you stream onto PC VR wirelessly, it's probably going to eat up your headset a little bit more than playing standalone. Same thing, I'm pretty sure the mixed reality will probably take a little bit more battery than running the games. I believe that's how it is on the Quest Pro. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense depending on what you're doing with it. We've noticed certain games drain your battery more than others.
Yeah, since I've owned my Quest.
So it's like, yeah, that statement makes sense.
I learned that real quickly.
Because you know somebody's going to go.
This game I can play for an hour. This game I can play for an hour and a half.
Somebody's going to go into one of the most, intense games on the Quest 2 and be like, it only lasted, on the Quest 3, it only lasted 90 minutes. Like, yeah, bro. You got the resolution increased in side quests. What do you think's going to happen?
You own a new Kiwi headset with the battery thing? That would be my answer.
Well, what I liked about it is, yeah, we're going to see this third-party market stay alive because you need, like, anybody that wants longer, they're going to get another battery.
And they're
strap.
already manufacturing. There's I'm 1,000,000% positive.
Well, because I'm pretty sure Quest 3 sales are going to be good. So it's justifiable.
No, and they're not
to do.
hiding it from developers and,
They showed it off.
So, yeah, I mean, the market's going to exist probably on day one.
Oh, I can't wait. I
need the grip extenders, dude.
I don't want to go back to
I can't have small little controller in my hand.
Not after having the big grips. It's one of those, it's not an issue for me until I switched. Same with like the default strap on the Quest 2. I didn't mind it until I went to my Kiwi. And now you put that little...
The one that came with it?
I didn't have an issue with it when I first got it.
I hated that thing.
I think that you're remembering incorrect. I have
No.
vivid memory of us saying that
no.
it's not as bad as everybody says.
It's not as bad, but one thing I kept on doing was having to squinch my face to keep adjusting the thing. And Tracy used to always ask me, like, what are you doing? Because I keep making this weird face. And I'm like, I'm just trying to keep the...
I just remember when we both used it, we were a little even complimentary of it, that it does the job.
Okay, from the reviews that people were saying to my own personal experience, yeah, it wasn't the end of the world. But
I'll say I couldn't put it on
was
now.
it good?
I don't even think it would get me by right now.
No, it would keep like slipping. I'd have to...
So same thing with the controllers. I never had an issue with the controllers until I got the bigger handles. Now I don't want to go back to the little. But if you asked me before I ever used the grip extenders, like, are those controllers too small? I'd be like, nah, they're fine.
I don't mean to bring up Skiba again, but a stock pair of controllers in his hands.
That's the thing.
He's 6'7", I think, dude.
That's the thing. It's
what does that look like?
I got little. I don't have the longest fingers, but I got sausages, dude. I got
fingers.
I got little like what are those mini hot dogs called?
Viennas.
Yeah.
The Viennas.
I got little Viennas.
I got a can of Viennas over here.
Yeah. It's good, dude. I've never broken my fingers in jiu-jitsu.
It'd be cool if they made could realistic. This isn't even trying to be funny, even though it's going to be funny to picture. So you're hanging out with Brock Lesnar, and you want to try my headset, and all you have is the stock controllers.
That thing's gonna break.
So, I mean, they should have the option. Fucking imagine the size of the controller you need for that guy.
Especially as you sell to the Scandinavian markets, you're gonna use some little controller where there's Vikings.
Yeah,
out of your mind.
I mean, it's just food for thought.
Yeah, I'm all
small
about
market in the big picture, but no pun intended. But
well, look, they're lowering.
Just gets you thinking.
They're lowering the headset age to 10, which I think is a little coincidental that they did that a month before the Roblox announcement. It was like, okay, and now that makes sense why you did that.
Maybe they didn't know.
Yeah, I think like half of Roblox or more than half of Roblox players are under 14, so it's like, well, yeah, they kind of had to lower that age group if they want a lot of Roblox players in there without skirting the field. But so I think it makes sense for the controllers to come small if they're for as young as 10 years old. But you should always have the addition to get that attachment.
Bro, I buy a bike for a 10-year-old. It's a lot different than a bike for an adult.
I agree, but if you have to do a one size fits all.
I pay $500. I don't want a child's bike coming for my hands. I don't want a fucking adult hand.
But I will say it makes sense why they make the controller smaller if that's going to be a potential market of it. Yeah. But you should have the option to get the attachment. I love my attachments.
Yeah.
I think that they would have more issues if they sold the controllers that big by default than they do
with the extenders.
Yeah, because then you can't go smaller.
Mm-hmm.
You can always go bigger. You can't go smaller. So that's why I think it makes sense to sell them at that size and then have the option for the attachments.
If I had some youngins again, I'd put 10-pound weights on my controllers. You guys play as much as you want.
See your kids like beefy, playing a lot of walkabout.
Shoulders like you've never seen. Yeah.
Playing a lot of walkabout. Like, dude, You're either jerking a lot or you're playing a lot of walkabout. You can't tell.
Back muscles behind the neck, all just roided looking. Like, damn, you're only 2.
So, nonetheless, on other news too, Meta's announced that they're releasing something for developers in Unity called Quest Super Resolution, which is upscaling for sharper VR visuals. But they give some documentation of what are you laughing at? The name super scaling? Or super resolution?
Hey, there's resolution and then there's super resolution. You know what? I just came out with my own shit and it's got super duper resolution.
Well, I was gonna say at least
X2.
They didn't go right to ultra or ultimate. They left themselves some room for some upgrades.
Yeah,
I already knew what you were laughing at because I laughed when I read it too.
Yeah, it's funny.
Super resolution.
And
there's some circumstances it's not exactly going to be, the best to use. They give some documentation on it of like in these circumstances, it might cause some issues and. It's good in this
games get shitty graphics. This ain't gonna make it better, is what they're saying.
Well, what I imagine if your game's pushing the limit as is, and then you turn this shit on, it probably causes issues. That's
You'll have one tight ass looking frame now, before that thing locks up.
But it's a picture game. It's a moving picture game. That's all,
Super resolution.
But nonetheless, that was cool to see come out with that. Obviously, it'll be some time before.
Can't stop laughing.
Yeah, it'll be some time before developers actually take advantage of it. But don't be surprised if there's an older game that you pop into and you're just like.
Is it going to be in descriptions of games? Like under the developer and game came out, it's going to be super duper resolution.
I hope somebody makes a game and uploads it on SideQuest or on App Lab, and it's just called Super Resolution.
SDR.
Yeah, Super Duper Resolution.
Super Duper Resolution.
And it's like the most basic thing. You're like walking around an environment that's just maxing out the super resolution. Oh my goodness. Too much fun with that. I know
it's a serious thing, but
I got to move on. I can't even talk about it. I'm going to laugh every time
keep laughing.
We go
it's
to
just
start.
Funny.
So
my pea brain, You know
what? Why don't we take the moment? Let's take a quick little ad break. We'll take a message from the sponsors.
I can take a breath.
Yeah, we'll come back. I
found that way too funny for what it was.
Yeah, maybe we're just immature, but super resolution, I understood it. Like I knew right away what you were laughing at because I laughed. So we'll take a message from our sponsors, but before that, like always, I like to give a weekly on-air shout-out for our Patreon members on the on-air shout-out tier. If you visit the link in our show notes to join the Patreon, you'll notice that we have a couple different tiers. All of them giving access to an exclusive Patreon-only chat room in our free Discord channel. I emphasize free Discord channel because you don't need to join the Patreon just to join our Discord. But when you're in our Discord, if you're a Patreon member, there's a bonus chat room. So if you visit the link there, we have a couple different tiers. All give access to that Discord chat. There's an on-air shout-out tier. There's a tier to get your name across the bottom. And it helps us a bunch. Besides Patreon's, understandable credit card fee cut, blah, blah, blah. They got to stand alive. I'd say most of it goes directly to us. So it's a great way to support the podcast, help us grow. Hopefully one day go full time. And definitely go join that Discord as well. Our Discord is the shit. It's awesome. We have a bunch of great game meetups, great moderators with Shoes, Amelia, and King Canuck. They kill it. Like I said, too, exclusive chat room just for our own Patreon people. I think I already set up a game meetups, real life discussion like movies, music, adventures, pet pictures. The food channel is a little dangerous. It's probably my favorite channel, but you're probably going to leave it hungry. There's some great food pictures that get shared there. And then other than that, go join the giveaway for the Quest 2. And we'll be back with you in just a moment. Oh, don't forget to go subscribe to Tabor Radio because that shit's coming out tomorrow. All right, we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to unleash the beach beast within you. This summer, Manscaped is here to help you level up your beach game with their new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. They're going past waist deep in the grooming game and diving in headfirst into your facial hair fantasies. The Beard Hedger is a game changer, allowing you to shape your beard like a true beach babe. So this summer, let the beach balls bounce and turn heads all over the place. Visit manscaped.com and use the code word RuffTalkVR for 20% off and free shipping. It's time to tame your mane. So say goodbye to all your stubble trouble with Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit. It all starts with the beard hedger. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. Plus, it's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower to avoid all the hair in the sink. The titanium-coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency. That brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. The Pro Kit doesn't even end there, though. They've created 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for your post-trim care. First, there's the beard shampoo and conditioner. You need to remember all your hair is different. Your beard hair is more coarse and easier to damage than the hair in your head. That's why the kit has made shampoo and conditioner specifically designed to moisturize, reduce ingrown hairs, replace natural oils, and promote beard health. Next, the kit has Manscaped's beard oil. This helps relieve dryness both on the beard and under the skin beneath while adding a little shimmer and shine. Cap off the kit with the Beard Balm, pomade that shapes, styles, moisturizes, and tames for a sculpted look to attract any fellows or dames. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts, a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code RuffTalkVR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and be sure to use the code word RuffTalkVR. Manscaped Beard Hedger, 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 lengths. This episode of Ruff Talk VR is sponsored by BetterHelp. Virtual reality gaming is amazing, but let's not forget to take care of our mental health in the real world too. BetterHelp is the world's largest online counseling platform, offering professional, affordable, and convenient therapy. Their licensed therapists specialize in everything from depression and anxiety to relationship issues and stress management. So, if you've been struggling to balance your love for MetaQuest VR gaming with life's challenges, BetterHelp is here to support you. They'll match you with the perfect counselor, tailored to your specific needs, and with the convenience of video, phone, or even live chat sessions, you can get the help you need from the comfort of your own home. As a Ruff Talk VR listener, you get a special offer of 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. Just visit betterhelp.com/RuffTalkVR. That's betterhelp.com/RuffTalkVR and start taking charge of your mental health today.
This podcast is brought to you by Kiwi Design, the leader in MetaQuest and VR accessories. And now you can deck out your device while supporting the podcast. The MetaQuest 2 is a great headset, but do you ever feel things could be a bit more comfortable? Well, we have the solution for you. With lens protectors, controller grips, face covers, head straps, link cables, headset stands, and more, including my 2 personal favorites, the top version controller grips with added weight and an extended handle, and the Kiwi upgraded Elite strap. Let's be real, we've all whacked our controller. Don't be the guy messaging Oculus support for your own mistake or waiting weeks for an out-of-stock controller. Visit the link in our show notes to prepare yourself today. After visiting the link in our show notes, make sure to use the promo code RuffTalkVR at checkout, all one word, to take full advantage of your savings. And make sure to click the link in our show notes so the podcast gets credit and you help support us. Remember, whatever you need, Kiwi has you covered. And we are back. So, dude, I know I talked about this last week, but I'm so excited for all the events we have coming up with, like, the award show, the showcase. Like, I think about the showcase daily. Of course, you know, there's things that we have to do before we can actually record, but I'm excited to get this baby going.
There's a lot of work to be done and a lot of work going down as we speak, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be good.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. And
like we said when we decided on it, if it's not going to be the best we can do, then I don't really want anything to do with it.
And unfortunately for you, we've announced, so it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that we're going to do it
the best we can.
Yeah. So back to the news of VR news, a game that we've previously reviewed, and I'd love to get somebody from this team on for an interview sometime. Synth Riders, one of the most popular rhythm games on the Quest store. You know, typically the way it goes, I'm not the biggest rhythm game fan. You tend to like them a little bit more. So when we play them, you tend to kick my ass in the multiplayer of them and just do way better of them. But I actually really enjoyed Synth Riders. You know, it was a lot of fun. Do I go in it every week? No. Like I said, rhythm games tend to not be my cup of tea. But if I'm gonna play a rhythm game, Synth Riders, Ragnarok, that's like as good as it gets. Yeah, Ragnarok was a lot of fun too. But Synth Riders, they're celebrating their 5-year anniversary and adding 10 new songs to the game.
which is huge.
Yeah, that's a game that has a pretty extensive
Yeah, it does.
library of games and a huge modding community where people do, their custom songs and everything like that. But just to get 10 new songs to celebrate their 5th anniversary, and how about them 5 years in, and it's still this popular? When there's other huge rhythm games like Beat Saber, it's like, no, they're coexisting. They're surviving together.
Yeah, Beat Saber's in their own lane.
Yeah, Beat Saber went back to the number 1 spot for June. Beat Saber is just a beast.
It's those Queen DLCs, bro.
Yeah, and what's crazy about Beat Saber is they'll just pump out a second DLC of an already existing artist. They're like, oh, we added more, Lady Gaga songs, and you'll be like, all right, I guess I'll go buy the part 2 or the extra songs I don't have now.
Yeah, they're smart.
But Synth Riders, man, crushing it. 10 new songs to celebrate their 5th anniversary. Seems like that they just grow in popularity as the quest grows. I think that you could argue Synth Riders is probably the most popular now than it's ever been.
Well, it's maintained, which is really good.
Yeah, like I said, it grows with the industry. It never loses the popularity, and as the quest user base grows, so does Synth Riders. It seems like correspondingly, it's they do a great job. It's one of those, I feel like people discover the awesomeness of.
They'd be fun to talk to just because, we're talking 5 years now. It's like, what is their...
It doesn't seem like any intention of slowing down.
No.
So, I think that they'd be a great one. And
I would hope not.
I also love to hear from people about like licensing and stuff like that. And I wonder how the licensing for this stuff goes. We talked about it a little bit with Ricardo Acosta of Unplugged VR, and he got into it a little bit, but the more the merrier in terms of perspectives, it's its own
I think it
beast.
always comes down to permission and pay us money.
And it seems like, dare I say, networking and connections. It seems like knowing people and knowing who to contact is so much of it.
I think there's a reason why, in just my opinion, some of the best people in VR right now in the art of, we'll say, getting licensing,
Lucas Martel,
all come from a Hollywood background.
Douglas Neighbors of Fun Train, Lucas Martel.
I can't assume that they're not utilizing connections or knowledge that they had in the industry. So yeah, but if you just look at the studios that have done it, it's like they got somebody on the inside who knows how this shit works, and they don't have to. But the music one seems like ridiculously hard, knowing that 30 people could own one song.
Well,
and you need permission from all 30 people.
I forget the reason they had to, but we go back to Unplugged and remember Tenacious D, for some reason, had to re-record the song, and they went into studio and remastered the song
just for Unplugged.
For Unplugged.
It's still one of my favorite songs in Unplugged.
And no wonder it's so good, like in comparison.
I can't remember the reason. I don't know if it was just to do it.
I don't know if there was an issue with the
quality.
master file, like they didn't have it, or there was an issue with the way it was recorded or say. I don't remember the reason. I have to go back as a consumer.
Re-listen to that one.
But that was a great interview for the reason that we got some insight in
licensing.
So if you haven't listened to that interview where we talked to the Unplugged, definitely go do that. I love that game.
Good developer too. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, a lot of insight about hand tracking too. Same with even the Just Hoops interview. But going back to that, like they had to re-record that song for whatever reason just for that. And you had commented when the Queen DLC came out of Beat Saber, like, hey, Beat Saber puts out a song, it's going to be the best the song ever sounds. So I don't think it's as simple as just, here's a song that goes in. I think that there's some things that have to check off, maybe some remastering.
I'm thinking minimally remaster, but it just seems Beat Saber.
And you can't remaster somebody's song and release it in a game without so many thumbs up of approval from the record company.
Unless it's a solo owner.
Yeah, so it's like, I think it's so much more of a undertaking than, you would go like, dude, just go get Metallica. I don't think it's like that.
Fuck no.
Like, I think that there's so
I think during the interview too, we asked him like specifically about Metallica.
Yeah, and he laughed.
Yeah, it's like, it's not impossible, but it's like, damn, it comes to, is it worth the money?
And then it comes out, so where do you start? Who do you contact? And if you're somebody that already knows, like, all right, dude, I got a couple ins with, UMG.
And then you got to think about, like, is it a royalty?
There's Oh,
I
man,
can't
how do you
remember
do
the
it?
singer that did Every Breath You Take, which was Sting.
Mm-hmm.
But someone, I can every breath you take.
Hey, do.
But I think as a result of using his song with no permission, they came to an agreement that he gets, I think it might have been P. Diddy, pays him like $1,400 a day.
Mm-hmm. I think
For
I'd heard
life.
that.
Yep, for life. So it's like you can only imagine like what some of these like more higher end.
Yeah. Again, I think that would be a fantastic interview. But huge props again to Synth Riders on their 5th year
Still
anniversary,
crushing it.
being maybe the most
On their
popular they've ever been.
anniversary, they go out and crush it even more.
It's like when somebody,
for them,
it's
man.
like it when on somebody's birthday, they like do something charitable for other people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they put
That's
out
exactly
10,
what
they
they
gave
did.
10 new songs, you know. Well, happy birthday to us. You know, here's content for you.
Be like, if it was Mr. Beast's birthday.
Yeah. And then another game that we loved on App Lab, it graduated App Lab, which freeze, not for nothing. I don't want to say that it was stolen from us.
Stolen.
I just want to, you know, hey, dual think, you know, sometimes people think the same things. I just want to say, in writing anywhere, heard anywhere, I had never heard the term App Lab graduates before we said it, you know? So I'm just going to say that on air. We've been saying it since the first games went from App Lab to the official store. We always called it App Lab graduates or the graduating the App Lab store.
The day someone went.
And then I go on. I never heard this anywhere else. I even Googled it. Once I saw this, I was like, let me Google it, see if there's any other clicks of it. I didn't even see anything. I was like, I'm not gonna say they stole it from us, but I said dual think. It's a little weird. I went on the MetaQuest like packs the other day where they like, you know, maybe sell games together on sale or like make a collection of games that they just display, you know, to give a little promotion to. And they had an App Lab graduates pack. I was like, what? Freeze. You know?
Come Tuesday morning, you're going to be getting an email from Meta. It's going to inform you that you are to stop using the term App Lab graduate, as they have copyrighted that and own the trademark to it.
Yeah, we're not getting another Chris Pruitt interview, are
Oh
we?
my God, dude. Next thing we get from Meta is going to be a cease and assist.
But, you know, another game that we love that graduated App Lab, Guardians, back then known as Guardians and now on the official store, re-released and published now by Fast Travel Games. It's called Guardians Frontline.
Who crushes it?
We loved it at release on App Lab on the official store. It's a game to me. I don't go into it single player, but it's co-op, and it's one of the best co-op games. Sometimes I'll forget about it when we're like, let's play a co-op game for 10 minutes while something downloads. Guardian's a great contender for it. A lot of bug killing in it, a lot of bug squashing, but a bunch of different game modes. They have a map editor, and now they just added new enemies, one called a Mushroom, which, you know, kind of a funny name, but it says it's going to be like a structure that emits toxic fumes. So you're going to have to destroy it. People who play the game know that there's humanoid enemies and there can be turrets. There can be other shit too. So it didn't sound like a living and breathing bug or nothing. It sounded like
a spore.
Yeah, it sounded. They call it mushroom. That's great. And then the other one is is the Dragonfly, which is a rework of the dragon character that adds durability to it. Which when I read that, I went, great, you know, because the dragon was sometimes, you know, unless you had a bunch of turrets set up and a bunch of anti-air, that dragon could eat some bullets. And now it can eat more. They call it Dragonfly. How is Dragonfly an upgrade of Dragon? Why didn't they go Super Dragon?
Well, super works.
Super
duper dragon.
Yep. We're so stupid, man. But huge stuff from Guardians Frontline. A great game. You know, they also added airstrikes into the game too,
which is good.
Yeah, so that's also coming in a game, you know, Ghosts of Tabor too. And I saw the Ghosts of Tabor teasing on their social media an airstrike, and it had the, you know, the equipment coming down from the sky.
A big cargo box. And
it landed on Scott Albright, and it just killed him. It was a great video. It's on their Twitter.
When you call in those airstrikes, when that happens, don't stand under it. The question's already been answered.
It will kill you. The way he gets squished like a bug.
The worst part, you can't even get the person's gear after because they're under that freaking thing.
So cool stuff from Guardian Frontline, you know.
Feet sticking out like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, adding, you know, new enemies, airstrikes, you know, some other content as well. So cool stuff from them. Fast Travel, they don't mess around. They're not the developers, they're the publisher.
You want to get it there fast,
But
go to Fast Travel.
Guardian Frontline, badass game. And on the news of game updates, another game that I was kind of bugging you for like a week to go back into, and we did some rounds of Breachers. They put out a new game mode called Control Point, which the standard 5v5 in Breachers is like you got one life per round. If you die, you're out. And one team's trying to defuse a bomb, and the other team's trying to stop it from being defused, defend it. You know, we had commented it in the review. It's always interesting because usually these games, it's like the quote-unquote bad guy is trying to plant the bomb, and the good guy is trying to stop the bomb from being planted. But in this case, the breachers are trying to plant the bomb to defuse the already planted bomb.
Well, because it's an EMP.
Yeah, it's so what you're
You're
doing
not
is
planting a bomb.
no, you're planting a device to put out the bomb that the
Kill the circuitry.
So instead of terrorists trying to plant the device and the good guys trying to prevent them or defuse it, in this case, it's the good guys planting and the bad guys are the defenders. It's always interesting. But they added a new game mode called Control Point, which instead of being that standard, you know, plant or defuse, you have to try to get to a point listed on the map and control it for up to 60 seconds. And the amount of time that you control it for, example, let's say your enemy takes control of it for 20 seconds, then you run in, you kill them, you take control, and then you get it for the rest of the 40 seconds. Then it'll switch to a new spot. Your team got 40 points, they got 20 points. And it was the first, I think, like 300 or something like that. We did a round or two of it. And, like, it's fun. It's a different game mode. It's not like the standard one where you die, you're out. You die, you respawn. You know, you buy your stuff real fast in the beginning, and that's the loadout you have for it. And, yeah, it's basically control the base for X amount of time until your total points add up to appropriate. There's also a 30-minute time limit on it. Man, you would have to have two evenly matched teams that just keep not being able to take control of a control point for it to hit 30 minutes to get 300 points.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely deliberate. So they know there's always going to be plenty of time.
Well, the first time we played it, I almost quit when we were at like 240 because I was like, I don't know how long this is going to go, you know? And then we won like right after. I was like, okay, glad we stuck around. Then we know how long it goes. And 300 is very manageable. But the thing is, like, if both teams get to the control point at the same time, as you would imagine, neither team gets any points. The timer stops on like the control point timer, not the whole game timer, and then it doesn't start, you know, controlling and getting points until the other team's out of the control area or wiped out of that spot. You know, so there is times that, you know, people could be kind of in like a landlock for like, you know, a couple minutes, but to go 30 minutes, man, it would have to, like I said, it'd have to be two really, really good teams that can't get control. But it was an interesting update. I think I still prefer the, you know, the base mode, the kind of Counter-Strike-esque mode, but it was variety. It's actually probably really good to learn the game, like if you're a new player, because now they have this team deathmatch and the regular mode. So 3 different game modes. We didn't have any problem like getting our server that we made. That was me, you, and our friend Caleb. It filled up with 7 other people in 20 minutes?
Yeah. So. Started with the NPCs and then slowly but surely people came.
And now you can take over the bots that are still alive on your team if you die. So
yeah, Breachers is legit.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not as good as Ghosts of Tabor. But
different game, though.
But game is.
I won't even compare them.
Mm-hmm.
One's a, you know, diffuse and plant, and the other is like search and destroy and raid. So,
well, I was going to say, despite that statement, like, oh, I like Ghosts of Tabor more, it's like Breachers is freaking fun, though. Especially with like 5v5, but all people you know. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. We did that in our Discord once, and like overdue to do it again. Great game. So
I still trying to get some Quintar 2 versus 2.
Yeah, I'm putting
through our Discord. So if anybody wants to join the Discord just specifically for some 2v2,
yeah, we're throwing down way too many whoopings.
Catch us in the evenings at about 9:30.
We actually had one match the other day that we lost a round, the first round, and then won the next two. And I'm convinced we only lost the first round because we were like, we didn't think that they were going to be challenging. Like, because we're not challenged enough. We were sleeping. We were yawning, They caught us off guard. And then we whooped them bad the next two rounds.
Well, we had to.
So they're
95% win rate.
I've heard people be like, is there bots in the game? Man, there's definitely bots in the game. You can tell when you're playing them. But there's definitely real players too, especially you play on like a Saturday night. We had no problem finding real players to face.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel bad when we bully them. But,
I've noticed,
that's just the way the game is. Sorry.
If we have a bot match now, I'm not even getting like season ranking points for them anymore. We'll win and it'll say +0.
Yep.
And now we beat 2 real people and I'm only getting +5 points. There was a point where I was getting big chunks,
Oh,
not anymore.
Start, yeah.
Not anymore.
Nope.
We beat people bad, real players, and we're getting +5. And I'm like, dude, we killed them,
No, there was one last week we played, and I was actually pissing and moaning afterwards because I'm like,
how'd we only get 3?
They were definitely same level, everything, and I'm like, we got like pissed for points on this. Are you kidding me?
I think that was the one that
unless you're punished for like doing really well.
Sorry, I'll try to chill out,
I'll try to take a beating for a little, which I'll do too sometimes. I'll let someone just hammer on me because I know I can just jump right back.
Which we're still using Captain Fury and Fletch. We haven't moved from that at all. Still getting wins. What's your win rate at now? Like 95 or something?
95%.
Yeah, it's insane. Insane. So Quantar, man, if you want to come in and face us, just shoot us a message in the Discord. We're usually around, late evenings, Eastern time, and open challenge, baby. You can even catch me while I'm buzzed. I'm down to play on that one. I'm so confident. But I love Quantar. Great game. Love Breachers. Another great game. I said it off air to you last week while we were playing in VR. I was like, the releases in 2023 have definitely slowed down a little bit. I think it's all gearing up for Quest 3, the Quest Connect conference. But the way those first 3 and 4 months of 2023 started, where we had Barbaria, the Light Brigade, Ghosts of Tabor, and Breachers, boom, 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 all like that. That's an insane, all within like a month of each other. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely insane.
And only one of those in App Lab.
Yeah. And arguably the one that's played the most by us is the App Lab one. Isn't that insane? But it's like all of those games, man,
it's going to be a storm when that thing hits the store.
Yeah. Like Barbarian Light Brigade, I brought it up the other week. I'll say it again. So good. So is Breachers, but it's so easy to...
I think right after Barbaria came out, there was a game or two that came out.
I felt bad for them.
Yep. That kind of pulled... I think it just kind of pulled some of the player base. And it sucks because, by design, it's just a game you could go in every day or so. And
I think it was the Light Brigade that came out like 2 weeks after Barbaria, or like a week after. I think it was that one.
There was a lot of push behind the Light Brigade too.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like...
Because of Ghosts of Tabor and Breachers.
Yeah, it was just like... But Ghosts of Tabor, man, if you're not on that store, it's like, if you're that popular, you kind of got one up on the people in the store. Because... they got easier marketing.
I think I saw somebody posting only 2 games have broken 1,000 reviews, like launching in 2023 this year. And one of those is Ghost of Tabor. And that's on App Lab.
Yeah. To get 1,000 reviews on App Lab is insane.
Insane.
Unless you're Gorilla Tag.
And, we've heard metrics of like what ratio of people buy the game to review it. A while ago, we had somebody tell us, every 30 purchases, you'll get, you can assume 1 review. And we had somebody else tell us it was much higher. Much higher. But that would make sense as more player base comes in. When we had that 30 number, I think App Lab had just come out. It was different times. But so to get 1,000 reviews is a lot of sales at this point. But damn, only 2 games. But that's partially because of all those releases. Boom, they almost combated each other.
Breachers definitely pulled. They pulled from Pop 1, they pulled from contractors, they pulled from all areas.
If each one of those games...
But they fill a niche.
If each one of those games had at least a full 30 days in between each other, of Barbaria, Light Brigade, Breachers, Ghosts of Tabor, I think it would have made a big difference. But they were just back to back to back on top of each other.
That.
We were talking about the other week.
Yeah. But you know, something I didn't think of is like you're almost safer grouping in because take Breachers. Let's say Breachers came out and there was nothing around it for 30 days. You think that player base is going to be like, oh, look.
That's true.
I'm going to go play this now. It's like, no, it's like Breachers players that play daily, they're fucking legit. It's like, so you're almost in that sense like, shit, this is coming out. We got to release within 30 days because we need a piece of something because people are going to get too wrapped into.
Well, look, let's also not underrate something either. All of those games are doing good.
Yeah.
If you go in the Discord of any one of those, people are still playing the games. We just mentioned we played Breachers and we had no problem getting a full lobby. So it's not like these games are dead because, you know, they're all still doing really good. I want to be clear about that.
Far from dead.
So I think you do make a good point there that, if you gave people a full 1 to 2 months of only playing, same with Ghosts of Tabor.
When Tabor launches, if they launch and nobody touches them for 30 days,
I know
you're going to be in trouble.
You bring a good argument. I need to sleep on that one. Now I need to put some thought of that. Maybe we'll revisit this next week.
I had a different mindset before.
Yeah, well, now you bring a whole new freaking thing. I got to put some thought in.
I'm trying to think of this getting ready to be the
devil's advocate.
I'll be one of those paid game psychologists for when you shouldn't drop your game.
I'll be a paid game consultant if you want. I'll do it.
No, because
it's not if you want. Somebody would have to want it. I'm sure we can want it. Doesn't matter what we want. Somebody else has to want it.
Because we are reaching the point where, and I've said it before a couple weeks ago, the importance of knowing what your competitors are doing is going to be as valuable as what you're doing because you have the potential to crush yourself and not, with no ill intent, but just, timing's going to be whether you do release in kind of like a gap or do you try to piggyback at the same time just because there is some fuel behind, and it's going to start affecting sales.
Well, yes, the reality is that release schedule is more important now than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree entirely. And kind of on another note, a game that we haven't played because it's PC VR only, but it's one of the most hyped releases of the year for PC VR called Vertigo 2. It's a sequel to a popular game on PC VR called Go Figure Vertigo, made by a super young, talented developer. I think he's like 20, 21, something like that. He made Vertigo when he was still a teenager. He's done some contracting jobs with Valve. The kid's got a lot of talent, and he put together one of the best games in PC VR this year, Vertigo 2. And it was announced that it's coming to PlayStation VR 2. So that's actually a pretty big...
It's a good one.
Yeah, people put it on par with Half-Life Alyx and shit. People are like, dude, this game is freaking good. So to be able to get that to PSVR 2, hit a whole new audience, that's huge. Again, not a game that we played, but I've yet to hear somebody play it and go, that wasn't a fantastic game. Everybody I've heard talk about it loves it, so had to give them their props. Also for game updates, another great game, Rogue Ascent. That's pew pew finger guns. Hand tracking. You make the finger guns with your hands. It's kind of like a roguelite game. They added a new free DLC that adds a new class and new bosses. They're calling it their Marauder DLC. This goes back to it, man. The VR world doesn't mess around with taking games that are already out and making them 10 times better when they don't need to be. Free DLC, it's like you don't hear that often in other markets, but it's like VR, that's kind of the reg. Like, yeah, you're going to add more content to your game. That's what Meta wants to see, It's like...
You're going to make me pay for DLC?
What
kind of noise is this?
Dude, last week with Hubris, when you were like, I hate to say it, $29.99. How much is console games at this point? 60, 70? It's like, we're spoiled. We're spoiled for sure. In a good way, though. I think that I'm not going to be the one to push for every game.
Till the Quest 3 comes, get ready for your $60, definitely $60 games coming.
That's how much Asgard's Wrath's going to be. Yeah. Asgard's Wrath 2. But that's a 60-hour RPG.
I don't care if it's 30 minutes. It's $60. No, I'm just saying that, The game prices are set to move.
Well, let's think of it from a developer
As long
standpoint.
as they stay. Well, no, I can't even say that because people already do it.
But let's say you're a developer, right? You sell your game for $10, right? Meta takes 30%, so now you're down to $7.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take 30% after taxes. They take 30%.
So isn't the government
of the sale. So now you're going to go pay taxes on what you received as well. So now of that $7,
$4.50
maybe, So now how many sales do you have to make at $4.50? So to get $4.50, you had to sell your game for $10. It's just like, just remember that when you see game prices, it's like they got Meta's cut, they got the government, they got the Uncle Sam cut, and it's like, yeah, dude, it's tough. It's tough, no doubt. So I don't think that we'll see the days of $9.99 games last a whole bunch. Besides, like, smaller App Lab games and stuff like that.
The startup indie companies.
Yes, we're going to see a bigger distinction between bigger studios, indie developers, and such like that, as the industry grows. But that's kind of like obvious, that happens in every gaming realm.
As long as they just don't litter it up with shit like Xbox likes to do.
Yeah, you were complaining about that the other week too.
I'll complain about it every week. Their store is fantastic. They'll put 800 games on sale, but 100 out of 800 are legit games. The rest are like, damn, I wouldn't have let you play it when you were a kid. I'd be like, I wouldn't. Why torture the kid with this shit?
Well, they sounds like they need an App Lab type deal. As that's
they'll never do that.
But I never really heard of the concept before it came. But like as the longer it goes on, like I like the distinction of having an App Lab. It makes sense because
Well, you know what you're getting what you paid for.
Yeah.
It. This is, and Steam does it because they allow early access and shit. They just mix it right in there. But it's like you clearly know that there's so many Steam games I own that I bought only with the understanding of I want it down the road, not now, because it's not great. But dude, every like 6 months, if I go look at the progress, it's like there's been changes. There's some that are totally different from when I got them, but you know what? I got them.
I was a huge fan of Baldur's Gate. There's the Baldur's Gate 3. Last time I saw it was in early access. I'm pretty sure it still is, but that's a great example, or a game, for my flat screen homies.
But I do like knowing,
Mountain Blade Bannerlord. Dude, Mountain Blade is one of the best series ever. And they put out Bannerlord after working on it for like 10 years. They dropped it in early access, and that was enough for me, It's improved since, but that's a great example. I think early access has its place, but
it should be more than known.
But App Lab is more than just early access too. You have fully launched games that are
people waiting.
Yeah, I think that the longer App Lab exists, the more it makes sense to me. And kind of on that, a game, Genotype, made by a studio, Berserk Games. They follow us on Twitter. We follow them too. They've done a great job marketing up the release of their game. They're coming out with an early access beta that's only going to run for a limited time. It's kind of like an escape the dungeon adventure type game, but it looks really cool. So go check out Genotype on social media to get info on their upcoming beta. Like I said, when the game's out for full release, that's definitely one I'm going to have to check out. They've done a great job hyping it up. Just two more pieces of news. Another update, X8, which is a free-to-play 5v5 game that dropped amongst the era of, again, the Barbaria, Light Brigade, like that range of time where things were just popping every week. Some dude, remember the day that like 5 things came out the same day? It was just stupid the first quarter of the year. But they added a new map. By the way, it's a 5v5 shooter that's free to play. They added new maps, achievements, and some other features as well. So, to be honest with you, I haven't checked out X8 yet, and it's I know we say this all the time, Brian, maybe because it's free to play, but it's also because of the amount of games that came out in that little period. And then lastly, so Meta came out a week ago. And on the Messenger app on Instagram, on your Android phone and your iOS, you can like do a Messenger video call, but use your Meta avatar in the video call instead of yourself. So naturally, people are like, are you going to be able to do this on the Quest headset? And you can't today. Not yet, but they're working on it. So pretty soon, you're going to be able to video call somebody in Messenger from the MetaQuest headset. And what they see on the other end is your avatar moving. You know, because you're in the headset, you're going to be able to lift up your hands, you know. That's the time where face tracking and eye tracking becomes more valuable. But I'll give Meta credit, like their built-in blinks and mouth movement in sync with the audio. It's actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, I look, you know, could
I'm
it
not
be
paying
better?
$1,000 for face tracking, though.
Correct. That's what it comes down to. I'll put faith in their AI to know when it thinks I should blink. And if it hears noise, the mouths kind of move. But sometimes it's spot on. It's kind of creepy.
I got to make a quick correction, too. That popped into my brain. Like, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I think I called the makers of Genotype Berserk games. They're actually Bulwark games. I can see how my brain did that mix-up, but it was as soon as it rolled off my tongue, I was like, it's not Berserk games, dude. It's Bulwark games. So I just wanted to give the proper props and say...
You don't need someone from Berserk going berserk.
Well, I also said go follow them on social media. Mm-hmm. And if I was a listener, I would go Berserk Games VR, and I'd go, what is this? I don't see a genotype, you know? So, yeah, that's the proper name. But that was the last piece of news, just the avatars. I think that's really cool, a lot of potential. Messenger, you know, you can still go into your Messenger. This is going to sound confusing in my wording. You have your default Messenger app on the Quest where you can send messages to other Quest users on their Quest account, but you can also access your Facebook messages. However, they now have Messenger, which is the name of the Facebook message app. It's called Messenger. It's also a separate app that you can install on your headset to open to do increased functionality.
Install or force install? Because I think mine's force install.
Mine was not. It's in my list of apps, but it says get. Like I have to install it for the first time.
Oh.
So it's in my library. But your headset seems to be better with auto putting stuff in, you know. Mm-hmm. So most times, like if one of us has an update for a game, it's probably me, you know. But yeah, no, it didn't force me. It's forced into my library, but not forced onto my headset. So I imagine when the video calling comes out, it'll probably be through the standalone app versus the built-in Messenger interface.
Can't wait to go on a job interview as my Meta avatar.
Oh, dude, there's going to be remote meetings in Meta avatars.
Will I get the job if I have jiggly tits? Because I'll just click here and we'll put an end to this. So let me show you who you want me to be, not who I am.
So,
but my guy would look smooth in an interview. Wearing
your
nice
guy
suit.
is built for an interview.
Yep.
You could get any job. You'd be Meta CTO tomorrow in that Meta avatar.
Right? It's the most casual business outfit. It's awesome. I love it.
I'm so glad. Didn't the 4VR people love it when they saw it?
The first guy I played and representative for 4VR were laughing their asses off.
Yeah, Lauren.
Yeah, because I was like, it's a suit, you know, like.
Mm-hmm. And not suit, the kind of like glasses a little low down, like, you know what I'm talking about? They're not like up to your eye. They're, you know, casual.
He's cool, man.
Yeah, he's chilling.
They're
he's
like, look at you in the suit. The other guy had like the bowling shirt on. He was all decked out perfect, and so I'm like, I just came from work.
Came in from you look like you came in from reading a book by your fireplace in your nice quiet home in the woods.
See, I always picture that guy having like the Celtic sweater on and smoking the pipe.
Oh, I picture him as exquisite.
White beard.
Exquisite. The world's most interesting man, you know?
But hey, I bowled real good in that suit.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's your
just
bowling
my character's
suit.
Thing.
Dude,
It'd be cool to go to an interview with that, though.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I've been slowly trying
to... you drive your virtual car there. You get stuck in virtual traffic. You're fucking missing out. Oh, man.
I love the Meta avatar so much. I've been working on Unity tutorials, and it's taking me some time, but I'm slowly chipping away. And the end goal is a game idea I have with Meta avatars that, like, I
wouldn't say anything.
No, but it kills me to not be able to do. So what am I doing? Trying to get the skills to be able to do it, you know?
Yep.
The Unity tutorials are great too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to hopefully one day learn how to do my own shit with meta avatars because they're pretty freaking cool. They are. But that's about it for this week. Gave the shout out for our Patreon members. You know, we brought up the showcase, the Quest giveaway, the podcast awards, Tabor Radio. Don't forget to go subscribe to that. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow being Tuesday.
If you subscribe.
And it, like the Ruff Talk VR podcast, it's available everywhere podcasts are enjoyed, including YouTube. So for Ruff Talk VR, if you don't, go subscribe to us on YouTube. We did our moaning and complaining about Meta's lack of hearts and love sent to us because we're not big YouTubers. Definitely the majority of our audience is podcasting, but we're trying to grow the YouTube. We're trying. So go subscribe there. Help us get monetized and hit.
We're not YouTube entertaining. We're podcast entertaining for sure. That speaks
no, it's
for
just
itself,
a different form of content.
Correct.
Long form content in general.
If I were to truly do YouTube content, it would be
10 minutes, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
8 minutes, you know, yeah, it'd be different form. We're just putting our podcast on YouTube. It's different. But for podcast numbers, from what I gather,
I'm not upset.
We ain't doing too bad, you know. That's
not for the YouTube thing, no.
No, but our YouTube numbers is a different conversation. But podcasts, you know,
I'm not bitching.
Seems we're not doing too bad, you know. So other than that, you know, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Go join the Discord, the Patreon, all that fun stuff, and stay tuned for.
We're looking for those 2v2s for Quintar.
Yeah, so come catch some heat against Captain
Bring your
Fury.
buddy, log in, come to Discord.
Yeah,
say you're willing, and we could play 4 or 5 people a night.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. We're taking over Quantar. So subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Go subscribe on YouTube, podcast platforms. Leave a nice rating. Go join the Patreon. All that fun stuff. Stay tuned for a nice old interview coming later this week, and also for our award show at the start of the year, then our gaming showcase in February. And don't forget to help us win a podcast award by visiting the link in our show notes for the podcast awards and vote for us. And check you out later this week. Ciao, ciao.